Oh, yeah.
Hey, Sheila.
Chair Randall,
How are you?
we're live.
We're live, wonderful. All right. Good evening, authority members. I'm going to call to order the January 11, 2024 annual organizational meeting and public comment. So we're going to do the public comment first. Once the public comment is over, we will then roll right into the annual organizational meeting. So everyone should stay in the room, including you, Mr. Bedell.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. So I do want to thank everyone for attending the tonight. We invite the public to speak, to provide feedback to the NBTA on regional transportation focuses areas that people would like to see, whether you're speaking for yourself or speaking for the organization, especially during the year up to 2024, and how people think we should best tackle traffic congestion in the region through a multimodal approach. And that's really important, is that we tackle this through a multimodal approach. If you've already provided comment online, we really appreciate that. We thank you. If you provided it by voicemail or email or post mail or however, we appreciate that too. Smoke signals, whatever you did. If members of the authority will be provided previously submitted comments for review, and we'll thank those who are providing comments live or via telephone this evening. Some people have joined it, one person's joining us in person, the rest are joining us via Zoom. The person who has come in person, we're going to have them speak first, and then we'll go to the Zoom. Each person providing comments will have 3 minutes to speak. When you hear your alarm time run out, then please wrap up your comments. I am comfortable stopping people if they are running over. That doesn't bother me. If you provide comments, after you provide comments, you are more than free to stay here and enjoy the rest of the meeting. You are more than free to watch on the NBTA's live YouTube channel, and the meeting will also be posted as well. We'll begin with in-person comments. And after the last in-person comments, we will go on from there. So we have one person who's come in to give comments in person. He has come all the way from Silver Springs, Maryland. That's very impressive. Jay Perbolas, are you in the room? Hello, sir. You may join us at the podium.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming all the way from Maryland, especially.
I only came from Bethesda tonight. But
Okay.
yes, thank you for having me. My name is Jay Corvallis. I'm the Vice President of Public Affairs with JBG Smith. We're a Maryland-based real estate investment trust with over 11 million square feet of commercial property and transit-oriented locations throughout the DC region, including National Landing, where we serve as the development partners for Amazon and their second headquarters, Virginia Tech and their innovation campus, and now Monumental's plan for a new arena in Potomac Yard. I'm also here representing the National Landing Business Improvement District and Virginians for High-Speed Rail. On behalf of all of those organizations, I'd like to thank the NBTA for your efforts to promote multimodal mobility in Northern Virginia and highlight some of the ways that those investments are transforming National Landing. As you know, the NBTA has funded numerous projects in National Landing, including the Pentagon City Potomac Yard Transitway, a second entrance to the Crystal City Metro Station, the CC to VCA connector bridge between National Landing and National Airport, the Potomac Yard Metro Rail Station, and the new VRE commuter rail station. Many of these projects were included in the agreement between Amazon and the Commonwealth and continue to help us attract economic development. The Potomac Yard Metro Rail Station, which NBTA invested more than $70 million in, is a case in point. In addition to helping attract Virginia Tech Innovation Campus, the recently announced arena deal would not have been possible without the regional connectivity provided by the new station. So your investments are continuing to pay dividends. Even more exciting than these individual projects is the extraordinary connectivity that they enable. Once these projects are fully implemented, National Landing will be the most connected downtown in America, meaning that no other neighborhood will have as many modes of transportation going to as many destinations within its region than National Landing. As we're seeing, this type of connectivity provides an incredible competitive advantage, helping us attract world-class companies while improving quality of life for residents. As you look to 2024, we'd encourage the NVTA to play a proactive role in two projects I mentioned, the CC to DCA connector bridge and the VRE commuter rail station, which together will create a one-of-a-kind multimodal hub with direct air-to-rail connections between VRE, MARC commuter rail, and Amtrak service and DCA. As a funder of both projects, the NVTA is in a unique position to ensure the projects are fully coordinated and reach their full potential. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Is anybody else in the room who'd like to speak in person? Seeing none, we're going to go to the virtual meeting. If you're on the virtual meeting, I'm going to ask you to keep yourself muted until you get called, and so that we don't get feedback. We have 3 people. I will say them all, and so you know the order you will go with. First will be Stuart Schwartz. Stuart. You're, of course, from the Coalition of for Smarter Growth. Alan Munchak, the Virginia Bicycling Federation, and Kevin O'Brien from the Washington Area Bicycle Association. Mr. Schwartz, you will be first, sir. We're ready when you are. Is he on? Can you, we can see.
Here we are. Hold
Here we
on.
are.
Pull up my testimony.
Yes,
Thank you,
we're
Chair
ready.
Randall, and members of the board. I want to start off by thanking you for the opportunity to provide comments and identify that important issues certainly on your agenda are metro funding, the 6-year program, and bus rapid transit planning. But you must also address increasing road deaths, slashing climate pollution by 2030, and easing the large cost burden on families caused by decades of auto-centric transportation policies. We applaud you all for prioritizing metro funding in the legislative agenda for the General Assembly. And last month, CSG and 17 other regional groups issued a statement of principles for metro funding. We are asking for a metro funding agreement that avoids service cuts and major transfers of preventative maintenance funds to operating while minimizing fare increases. Metro has been on a roll with more frequent, reliable, safe service. Bus ridership has recovered, and Metro Rail has been steadily regaining riders. We strongly oppose comments that have been made in other venues by the Northern Virginia Transportation Alliance and also by Secretary of Transportation Miller that we should be cutting service to match ridership. That represents a fundamental misunderstanding of transit operations and is a recipe for decline. Furthermore, if you're committed to COG's agreed goals of locating 75% of new jobs and housing at Metro, to socioeconomic equity, to slashing climate emissions, then transit must be a priority for funding and for excellent, frequent, reliable, and affordable service. We note that Amazon, Nestle, Boeing, Raytheon, Hilton, and VW have all located at Metro, showing its value to Northern Virginia. We appreciate the candidate projects in your 6-year program, showing a shift towards more lasting transportation solutions that support your core values of equity, sustainability, and safety. We note that only 35% of the candidate project funding request is for highway and arterial expansion projects this year, in contrast to 65% 2 years ago. You are focusing more on technology, safer, narrower streets, true multimodal options in transit to move people and make destinations closer. We hope this shift is part of a larger trend. We do also hope you continue to recognize the reality of induced demand, the well-established phenomenon that wider highways and arterials fill up back up very quickly. And we hope that you will include that in evaluating projects. And certainly, we hope you will place greater weight on induced demand, our climate goals, affordability, and the increased safety that walk, bike, and transit-friendly road designs and local street networks provide. All the jurisdictions have adopted local goals to reduce emissions 50% by 2030, which is just 6 years away. Transportation, our #1 source of greenhouse gas emissions. But we need NVTA to track its progress in meeting those goals and to identify ways to reduce vehicle miles traveled and associated greenhouse gas emissions, as well as transitioning to electric vehicles. So we thank you very much for your hard work and support, your public service, and wish you a good year ahead. We look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Mrs. Schwartz, thank you very much, and Happy New Year to you as well. Alan Munchak, of the Virginia Bicycling Federation.
Good evening. I'm Alan Muchnick, a City of Manassas resident, a board member of the Virginia Bicycling Federation, and active Prince William. Thank you for this opportunity to comment virtually. Recent technology has thankfully reduced personal travel beyond one's neighborhood, and thus the rationale for widening major roads. I support the authority's core values of equity, sustainability, and safety, and its goal of developing an integrated multimodal transportation system that enhances quality of life, strengthens the economy, and builds resilience. I also appreciate that the most recent round of project submissions for MVTA funding is less focused on roadway capacity expansions than prior rounds. That said, MVTA's basic congestion reduction capacity expansion paradigm is fundamentally flawed. Unlike the TPB and other federally designated metropolitan planning organizations, MVTA's overarching mandate to reduce congestion for motorists by expanding system capacity, rather than making our transportation system more equitable, sustainable, or safer for non-motorists, with strategic investments targeted at those MVTA core values. Thus, while most NOVA residents still lack safe and robust alternatives to driving for most trips, and as our planet faces an existential climate crisis whose solution requires reducing vehicle travel, MVTA continues to allocate sales tax and other non-motoring revenue on projects that generate costly and counterproductive road widenings, often benefiting commuters who live beyond NOVA, rather than much more prudent and sustainable reallocation of existing roadway space to improve the livability, affordability, and equitable mobility of NOVA communities. Moreover, the active mobility components of many MVTA projects are largely, quote unquote, multimodal greenwashing. By merely grafting unpleasant pedestrian facilities with frequent, unsafe, at-grade, multi-lane roadway crossings onto supersized and overly fast highways. I urge the authority to reevaluate its approach to transportation project development to better align the projects it funds with its core values. I also urge MVTA to require advertised public hearings before a relevant government body endorses any project for MVTA-related funding, including from the CMAQ and RSTP programs. Currently, such funding requests are often developed behind closed doors and simply placed on a governing body's consent agenda. Requiring advertised public hearings before the governing body endorsement could alter the mix of the submitted projects and/or expand or modify their scope in light of early public input. Thank you for the public comment opportunity and for considering my recommendations.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. The last virtual speaker we have is Kevin O'Brien from the Washington Area Bicyclists Association.
Good evening, folks. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Kevin O'Brien, and I'm testifying on behalf of the Washington Area Bicyclists Association, or WABA, and our more than 5,000 members across Northern Virginia and the Washington metro region to encourage the Northern Virginia Transportation Authority to truly prioritize active transportation improvements and vulnerable road users' safety as it begins to contemplate projects for funding in its next 6-year program. For over 50 years, WABA has worked to transform the capital region by improving the conditions for people who bike. Our work to advocate for dedicated bike infrastructure, pass laws that promote safe roadway behavior, and provide education programming has resulted in a drastically different cultural and political approach to biking for transportation. Bicycling can and should be an equitable, safe, low-cost, time-saving, sustainable way to navigate our communities for all. The Northern Virginia Transportation Authority has certainly played a role in transforming bikeability in our region, now considered among the nation's best. NVTA has funded over $5 billion in transportation investments, with dollars going to critical transit and complete streets projects, but far too much funding has gone to widening roads and building interchanges, over 60%, according to our friends at the Coalition for Smarter Growth, which fuels ongoing auto-dependent sprawl and induced demand that exacerbates the epidemic of road violence affecting our region and the nation, among other negative externalities. 15 people on bicyclists were killed on Virginia roads last year, along with 117 pedestrians, continuing a steady, deeply troubling upward trend over the last decade. While the scourge of road violence is multifaceted with no silver bullet solution, one critical element is better dedicated infrastructure and the need to prioritize our long-range investments with safety and vulnerable road users in mind. Doubling down on a status quo infrastructure approach can only further entrench existing car-dominant travel patterns with predictable and deadly results. The alternative? A commitment to modal shift and transportation alternatives and options with renewed focus on effectively moving people rather than cars, on expanding transit capacity and pedestrian spaces and bikeways rather than vehicle lane miles. We applaud those of NVTA's investments that we think reflect that alternate focus. Projects like Bus Rapid Transit on Route 1 that will move more people faster and more safely through the congested corridor, enhancements and expansions to our ever-popular WNOD trail, and Complete Streets projects in Falls Church and beyond that recognize the continued vitality and vibrancy of our communities relies on people walking and biking around them, not just driving through them. How we spend our money reflects our values, and NVTA has an opportunity to better live up to those core values of equity, sustainability, and safety with this next 6-year program. Let's invest in that better future. We look forward to working with you towards that mission. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Mr. O'Brien. We appreciate it. I'm gonna check one more time if anyone else is online or has come into the room would like to speak. All right, seeing none, I want to thank everyone who spoke tonight. It is important, and I want you to know that we do listen to feedback as Mr. Schwartz reflected. Some of the comments that have been made in the past were certainly reflected in some of the decisions that we have made. So your feedback is very important to us. I want to also say that Ms. Boysko, Senator Boysko has joined us. She's on the line with us now. So thank you for being here tonight, Senator Boysko. And as a reminder, anyone can find the organization meeting that will be archived at NVTA's YouTube channel after tonight's meeting. We're going to now transition to our authority meeting, and I'm going to ask that the roll call is called, please. And I don't have the roll call sheet in front of me, so that's okay. You can get it to me later. I just want to see it. Yeah.
Chair Randall,
Yes.
Vice Chair Snyder,
Here.
Chairman McKay,
Here.
Chair Jefferson. Here. Board Member Karatonis,
Here.
Mayor Wilson,
Here.
Mayor Davis Younger. Present. Mayor Rochelle. Here. Mayor Reed. Here. Senator Boysko.
Here.
Supervisor Harity,
Here.
Mr. Bedell,
Here.
Ms. Hines,
Here.
Mr. Cole,
Here.
Mr. Cutler,
Here.
and Mr. Brule is not here. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Thank you. Authority members, I'm going to go off the script tonight just for a second because this is our first meeting of the new term. We have new members in the room, and not everyone knows where everybody else is from. And so I'm going to go around the room and ask everyone to introduce yourselves, tell what county you're from, what agency has appointed you, why you're in the room with us today, if you don't mind. I think it'd be helpful for everyone else to know that. And if you are here for the first time, perhaps give a little bit of information about yourself that we might want to know. So we will start down here at the end, please.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Bill Cutler. I'm the relatively new district engineer for VDOT's Northern Virginia District, serving Arlington, Fairfax, Prince William, Loudoun, towns and cities within 2.5 million people, 30% of the Commonwealth's population.
I'm Tim Cole, and I'm in the second term as the gubernatorial appointee for the authority.
Anthony Bedell from Loudoun County.
Yeah, there you go.
I am the prior speakers.
Formerly Alexandria.
Formerly Alexandria and Fairfax.
Make sure we provide the full
Yes, sir.
information.
The prior speakers appointee, so I'm not sure how long this transition will be occurring, but enjoy being a part of the authority.
Mr. Bedell, we normally, what was happening in the past is that the speaker doesn't make an appointment till the end of the session. So I think you get to enjoy us and for a little while longer.
I will participate fully until.
And if you don't, you'll hear about it.
I know.
Pat Harity, I'm Springfield District Supervisor on the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors. Also here is the Speaker of the House appointee. So I'll probably be in a similar boat as my good friend, David Ellis.
Okay.
Thanks, Cartonis. I'm filling in today for my colleague on the Arlington County Board, Mr. Differenti, who is a very recent father of a fantastic daughter, New North Virginia. And you're already talking, by the way, so she will be. And well, yeah, passing the 4 mile run is almost, you know, or something more. So, anyway, so I'm the vice chair of the county board. I usually sit on the sister board of NVDC and I sit also, I represent the company on the operations board of DRE, so deeply embedded in this conversation. And I'm a transportation person. I want to be connected with Alexandria. That's the most important piece of my life. Not only.
Okay, Sheila Owen, this is my first meeting here. I am here as an action item. I live in the town of Herndon and the mayor of the town, and I'm here to offer my service as one of the town members, which is a non-voting member. And I also want to make sure you all know that Herndon is the only town in the Commonwealth that has a metro that stops in our town.
Very good, very good. Action item. All of them, thank you very much.
I am Mayor Michelle Davis Younger, Mayor of the City of Manassas. I was sent to make sure Sheila got here. Been on NDTA, this is the third one in my 4th year, this is my first time, but I have enjoyed it. All things transportation is where it all happens. I'm glad to be a part of it, so good to be with you all again this year.
Hi, Dave Snyder, City of Falls Church City Council. In terms of the region, Falls Church is the only place I live because nobody else paid me. So I am deeply embedded. But I want to second what Mary Hunter said. I think we want to make a positive change for the people. And you're really dedicated to public services. Everybody here is. This is the place to be.
Agree. Awesome. I'll come back.
All right.
Thank you very much, so thank you very much.
I'm Justin Wilson, Mayor of the City of Alexandria. Been on this board now for a little over 5 years. Been on City Council for 14 years. This is going to be my last year, so I'm going to be particularly.
Years?
You
didn't hear then.
I did have hair. I did have hair, and a lot of things that I don't have. You know, they got a whole bunch of good. So you all know, right? Yeah, no, it's great to be here. Welcome to all those new things.
Thank you very much. Jeff McKay, I'm Chairman of the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors, and welcome everyone to Fairfax County. But I have been on the county board for 16 years, Chairman for 4, been on the MDTA for, just like Ms. Davis Younger, this will be my 5th year with the group.
Jeanette Ruschel, Mayor of the City of Manassas Park. I have been on the NVTA since it was brought back to life in 2013. And it is an incredible pleasure to serve with such fantastic people, wonderful staff. It's a joy.
My name is Deshandra Jefferson. I'm Chair of the Prince William County Board of County Supervisors. I am a City of Alexandria refugee. I couldn't afford it there, so.
I was born in Fairfax County and now live in Alexandria. And by the way, and guess where Jeff was educated? City of Alexandria. Thank you.
The discussion for affordable home ownership or housing is not too Alexandria for, so anyway. It is a pleasure to be here to work with everyone today.
I'm Catherine Reed. I'm the mayor of the city of Fairfax. We are the geographic epicenter of the entire Northern Virginia region. A gem right in the center and so important to the region. This is my second year on NVTA and it's an election year for us. So I hope I'll be back next year, but we'll see.
Good evening, Monica Beckman, the Chief Executive Officer of the MBTA. This will be my 10th year working for you all. It has been an absolute pleasure. Before I officially assumed this role, I worked for Prince William County and I was doing work for MBTA and as Mr. Snyder said, just having the opportunity to serve, it's really, really inspiring.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Abigail Hiller, Communications and Public Affairs Manager at MBTA.
Abigail, we hear from Abigail. First of all, she does an amazing job. Secondly, we hear from her often because when we have ribbon cutting, she's the one that makes us act like we know what we're talking about. We don't. She gets everything out to you as soon as you need it. You do the staff does such a great job.
Thank you, Chair Randall. I appreciate that.
I'm Amanda Sink. I'm the executive assistant to Monica. So you get my emails when I'm coordinating schedules and I have to bug you.
Leanne Henderson, I'm the board secretary and I'm the one that does forum calls.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Ryan Phyllis Randall. I'm the chair at large of the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors, elected first in 2015, took office in 2016, reelected in 2019, and thank God reelected a couple of months ago again. I will say this was important because my first NVTA meeting, the chair was Marty Noe. I walked in, I sat down, and they started talking this language that I had no idea what they were talking about. And for the first kind of 6 meetings, I just faked it. So if anyone has questions, if you're new here, there's a lot that goes on in NVTA, a lot of acronyms. Please know that the staff is wonderful. They will talk you through whatever you need to know and don't know. Please feel free to give me a call as well. I will be help in any way I possibly can. Mr. Snyder is also incredibly helpful as person who has been the vice chair. And so it is a very important organization. And they do very, very well. So the communication alone is bar none. So thank you, everybody. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is go on and approve the minutes from the December meeting. If you were here and read those minutes on that meeting, I will make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
The motion made, seconded by Mr. McKay. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none for people who were here, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion will pass unanimously for the people who were in the room for the meeting that day. Next, we have the annual report presentation. This is always so fun. This is where the staff is to do their banner white thing, right? So, it's very good. Did you put this together this time?
Yes,
I thought so. I want to start off by saying my picture is much improved.
Oh, great.
So thank you very much, and we'll walk through it now.
And Madam Chair, thank you. As you did know, Abigail and her team put this together. It looks differently from our previous annual reports, and that was done on purpose. We wanted to really get information in the report that would be eye-catching and something that people will pay attention to. Additionally, you see on this side table, we have copies. We would appreciate if you take some with you. Please do not make us drop them off at your location. So having said that, I would like Abigail to walk through the report.
Hey, Monica, just give me just 1 second. The vice chair reminded me that we have people who are online that didn't introduce themselves. I apologize. To the voice go, Ms. Hines, would you all like to introduce yourselves?
Sure. Yeah. I'm eating. So I'm Jennifer Boysko. I am the Senate of Virginia's representative. I have served in the General Assembly. This will be my 9th year. Over the past 5 years, I've primarily represented Loudoun County, but with redistrict in the 33rd district. With the new district, I am completely in Fairfax County. And looking forward to working with you all again. I'm in Richmond now and will be here until the first week of March. So that's why I'm remote.
And if I'm not mistaken, you will be the new Senate Transportation Chair, is that correct?
That is correct. We had our first meeting today, and I have Senator Danica Rome sitting right next. I seated her right next to me, and we had a briefing from the Secretary of Transportation, and we both said very clearly that we will not accept, diverting funds from Northern Virginia's Transportation Authority and the Metro funding to trade off for other projects. So we will continue to.
I'll go home now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mary Hines. I am the Northern Virginia representative on the Commonwealth Transportation Board, which is a board of 14 that makes policy and funding decisions for the Commonwealth in concert with the Secretary of Transportation. I'm in the 8th year of an 8-year term. I'm out at the end of June. Prior to this appointment, I was on the Arlington County Board for 8 years, where I still live. And I actually served for 12 years on the school board in Arlington as well. I have service on the Metro Board, and this is my second stint on NVTA. Thanks, Phyllis.
Thank you so much. All right, I'm sorry for interrupting you. We're ready.
Oh, no, of course not. Well, this is truly surreal to see this report in our hands, just 1 year wrapped up. We did the video at the end of last year, which was great to kind of show that in an animated perspective, but to really have this in our hands of a pamphlet style, which as Monica was mentioning, was a different style that we've done a book style, but we wanted to have something that was a little bit easier to pass out. And it was a lot more economical for the authority this year. We cut down costs significantly, making this a whole lot more in-house with the design aspect. We're also able to print several hundred more copies. This is going to be super important this year with public comment, and so many other events we'll be going out to. We'll be able to pass hundreds of these out. And just the way they look and feel, I think they'll be very receptive to the public. I would like to direct your all's attention to the interior of just kind of the logic and the inspiration behind laying it out like this, was that we are really trying to highlight the who, what, why of the authority, and just showing the faces behind the name, the member jurisdictions. You have Northern Virginia. You have the full authority. You see our vision front and center, core values of safety, equity, and sustainability. We just really wanted people to open this up. And if they never had heard of MVTA before, they would be able to get a feel for who we are. Just really putting that face to the name was what was the goal of this year. Now, moving into the impact page, as I mentioned before, 2023 was a milestone year for MVTA. 10 years since receiving a funding stream, 20 years since the authority was established. The Regional Revenue Fund and the Local Distribution Fund together have created this impact of $4.1 billion. $4.1 billion. I mean, just wanted to say that again, because just the remarkable impact that by 2035 will create 42,000 jobs, saving over 400 million hours of travel time savings. So just something major on this page. Is coming on a high note, but impact is not able to be made without a process. So we wanted to educate the public and anyone who picks this up. It's especially important with educating the new members in the General Assembly of the process. All starts with transactions, which every 5 years, transactions updated. Every 2 years, 6-year programs updated. We're really looking forward to the 6-year program this year, heading into public comment soon, with projects currently being evaluated. A new feature on here as well, you'll see a little QR code at the bottom. This was a fun way to get the public, or again, as I said, anybody who picks up these reports, able to have resources in their hands, so that we're cutting down on page length. We're just giving them the direct resource. They're able to link directly to that transaction plan, because as you all know, that's a hefty plan. So they're able to get to it very easily. And I would also like to direct your attention to the investing in Northern Virginia spread. So we kind of set up the stage for explaining the impact, explaining the process, but we really wanted to break down what the regional revenue funds and the local distribution funds are truly doing. So how those are broken out by mode, how the member jurisdictions are getting their funding for your all's unique transportation needs, how that funding shakes out, but also just kind of, again, putting a face to the name. So 2023, huge year. We cut the ribbon on 7 mega projects, broke ground on 2 others. And as you all remember, just a few months ago, we cut the ribbon on $1 billion. So huge impacts, and kind of, you'll see it in the left-hand corner down there that nearly half of those local distribution funds are going to transit projects. So just something that we really wanted to make known on this page too, just kind of paint the full story and give it some background of where this money is truly headed. If you flip this over and head toward the backhand side, you'll see MBTA's new initiatives. So starting out with the preliminary deployment plan for a regional bus rapid transit system. So with this PDP BRT, MBTA is truly branching off of the already nearly $500 million investment that we have in 5 individual BRT lines throughout Northern Virginia, but brainstorming this bigger plan to connect the BRT system throughout the region. So it starts with explaining, well, first of all, what is BRT, but then explaining what we can do with the PDP BRT and how this is underway and how this is an extremely exciting initiative, kind of foreshadowing the work we'll do in 2024. And we really look forward to highlighting more of this work in this next year's annual report, which is kind of wild to think about starting the process all over again, but we will be starting that soon. Then we move to the innovation page. And of course, with the biggest part of how MBTA is innovative is we have our Transportation Technology Strategic Plan, otherwise known as the TTSP, which you'll have heard about many times. And there's 9 strategies in that TTSP plan. So recently, 1 strategy was added, 2 others were expanded. Those are mostly having to do with supporting transit innovation. So this TTSP also had a rebrand, and it has a new cover and a new look. So we wanted to highlight the work that we're doing to keep on trend with just innovative aspects and planning for the future. And that's especially important, especially in Northern Virginia. Last year, we also launched a virtual Lunch and Learn webinar series. Each of these are about 45 minutes in length. They're completely free. So far, they've had topics of intelligent transportation systems, ITS, artificial intelligence and transportation. We have our next Lunch and Learn coming up in February. So we wanted to just take a moment to call that out because it's a great way for anybody, transportation sector professionals, the public, kind of jump on, learn something in only 45 minutes. So we're excited about that new initiative as well. When you flip this over, you finally reach the back cover, which I think connects very well with the front because we chose to highlight Tyson's Corner here and showing the multimodal transportation network. It's hard to get all modes in one picture. That's extremely a tall order, especially here. I mean, it sounds like it would be easy in Northern Virginia, but it's not the easiest measure to get a picture that shows it all. So we wanted to have more of these pictures on the back of the cover that we went around the region and kind of captured just some of those, the bus system, the crosswalks, everything that makes up MBTA as just showing that we are truly multimodal and highlighting the milestones throughout the 20 years we've been in existence, since the true theme was celebrating 2 major milestones this year. So we wanted to pull it all back to the 6 funding programs and how many times transaction has been updated over the years. You also see another QR code on the back of this, and this links everybody directly to our Contact Us page, which is pretty much a one-stop shop. It has subscriptions to our newsletters. It has our contact information, meeting information, and more. So it just gives everybody, so if they're picking this up out at public comment, they can just reach us directly. But I'm extremely excited to have this in our hands. As Monica said, we have so many of them. We'd love for you to take these with you. And throughout the year too, if you have events or you need something that you would like to pass out, just please contact us. Because like I said, we have a lot of them and we're definitely willing to deliver them to you. We just would really like to continue to get the word out about the great work that the authority is doing. So congratulations on a fabulous year. And thank you for allowing me the time to present this with you.
Well, thank you. This is very, very well done. I always take some back to my my colleagues on my board, but also staff, the staff members as well. So this is really well done. You know, the Potomac Yard pictures are particularly makes me happy because I've never seen Mayor Wilson more happy. He arrived like 4 hours early. He was like vibrating with excitement. That's true.
That's true.
This is really very, very well
My
done.
kids call that station my third.
Thank you for cutting and pasting Jennifer and I into the vote.
We try to do it as seamless as possible.
I know Mayor Wilson would appreciate it. I was at the VCU board meeting at the time of the meeting.
The Rams.
Yeah. But thank you.
Okay, so that looks very good. Any questions? Yeah.
At Lunch and Learn, this is our first time doing that, right? Do you have numbers on like how widely, how many people? I'm just curious.
We do, yes,
You do.
we've actually been tracking each one. I don't have it directly in front of me, but we can get back to you because
Just
we.
email that out. I'd be curious to see if people really, because it is great information and I'll push it, to all my.
They're also recorded on our YouTube page, so you can go back and keep, and we're trying to keep track of how many people actually view it on YouTube as well.
That kind of stuff I'm kind of into. So that'd be good to have. Thank you.
Yeah, so the next one is in February too, so we're about to start promoting that one,
Great.
so.
Awesome. Thank you. This is really great.
It's just chock full of information.
I know.
It is. And then QR codes to go get more information.
And Madam Chair, if I could, I do want to, I said it at the beginning, this was Abigail and Sharara. Abigail came to me saying, hey, what do you think if we did the annual report a little differently this year? And she laid the entire thing out. That's what really where the savings came from. She had it all laid out. Sharara worked, they worked together, Amanda came together, and they had it all laid out. So it was just a review exercise for senior management. So I do want to thank them for this, because this is something I think that will be more receptive than the book that we had done in previous years.
Although I will miss you doing when that pull out the book came out.
We'll do a map for the.
Yeah, we will have a
Okay, good. Okay. That was important down the General Assembly. So thank you very much. It's very well done, and I think everyone should take these for their boards and for their staffs. All right, next we're going to go to the action items. The first action item would be the nominating committee, and it's the appointment of chair and vice chair. So I will pass this over to the nominating committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The nominating committee of myself and Mayor Mitchell, we did have an extensive process to choose the leadership of the MBTA next year. We conducted a number of interviews with potential candidates, talked to members of the board, asked them for their thoughts, their hopes, dreams, and aspirations for the coming year. After all that process concluded, we decided that maintaining the course of Phyllis Randall as the chair, David Snyder as the vice chair was the appropriate path for the MBTA. So as such, I move the authority appointment of Phyllis J. Randall as chair and David Snyder as vice chair of the MBTA for calendar year 2024.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I'm going to abstain of the votes. But all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? And I will let, you did say you opposed.
No. In that case, the speaker rep can leave. We'll call the speaker and get that taken care of a little bit.
I was on the fence, but I'm.
Traditionally, you hang around until the summer, maybe not, maybe not. That's right, it's been great.
And I'm going to abstain, but I think the ayes would have that. So thank you very much. Ms. Snyder, anything you want to say?
Just, thank you. It's a huge honor. And it's an exciting place to be.
It is. All right, so now we have the action item for which Ms. Oldham has come in the room, and that's the appointment of town members for the calendar year. As a reminder, the town member is representative of all the towns, not just their town, which is why it's a non-voting member, because it would be hard to do that if it was every town. So we really do appreciate Ms. Oldham decided to take up this appointment this calendar year. I will say though, Sheila, what you should know is that Mayor Wood, yeah, provided food for us.
Good
Good
food.
food. On a pretty regular basis. So I'm just gonna put that out, there, so that is your task. But I will make a motion to, appoint the town member, to the MBTA for the calendar year of 2024, Ms. Sheila Olam from the town of Herndon.
Second.
Motion made and seconded by Senator Boysko. Discussion on that motion. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Adele, got anything over there? Okay, very good.
He's on thin ice right now. He's a little worried.
All right, that motion will pass unanimously. We're going to talk about the calendar year, Ms. Backman.
Madam Chair, as discussed last month, you have the proposed calendar year meeting schedule for 2024. Continuing with our 20-year tradition of meeting the second Thursday of the month at 7 p.m.
All right, and I will say this now so that I don't have to say it when we do the GPC update is during the session, GPC, finance, everything meets on the same, we all mean the same thing. During the session, especially for GPC, there will be times where we have to react fairly quickly. And so we will not wait until we get to the next meeting because we can't, the session moves too quickly for us to wait a month to respond to something that happens in the General Assembly. Senator Boysko is on the line and she and we had already agreed at the last meeting that if something came up and she needed to call me or I need to call her during the session, we would talk often. And then I would send down a straw poll vote if something needs to be done during the session. Then we will ratify that straw poll vote at the following meeting. So although this is our meeting agenda for all three, for the subcommittees as well as the full authority meeting during the session, it may have, you may find that I am reaching out to you, calling you, somebody sending you emails because something's happening in the General Assembly that's moving quickly and you need to know about right away. Okay. All right, with that, if we have no other questions, I'll make a motion to adopt the meeting schedule. I need a second on that. Okay, let's give that second to Chair Jefferson. Discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? That motion will pass unanimously. Is Ms. Baynard on the line?
I'm here, Madam Chair.
How are you? So we're gonna give a quick update. Well, maybe not quick because we do have one fairly weird thing going on already in the General Assembly. But Ms. Baynard, I will pass it to you to give your update for the General Assembly session. It's what, we've been in this for 24 hours and it's already.
So, yes, already a lot of bills, but I'm going to focus on the 4 bills that specifically impact the authority. Senate Bill 158, patron, our own member, Senator Boysko, which she has put in for us to just clarify how the authority appoints members of the technical advisory committee. So that bill is posted. There are 2 bills, I'll get it right in a minute, that would mandate that the Speaker of the House appoint members of the House of Delegates as the appointees to the authority. They are House Bill 201 from Delegate Krizik and House Bill 1175 from Delegate Sickles. Delegate Krizik's bill also makes that change for NVTC and PRTC. Those bills are expected to be assigned to the House Transportation Committee. The 3rd bill that I want to bring to your attention is House Bill 557 from Delegate Hope of Arlington. It is a bill that says the authority should not and cannot fund projects that are part of a public park, recreation land, recreation area, wildlife or waterfowl, national wild, statewide, of local significance, then there are some additional criteria. As I have talked with your staff of their concern about this bill, what they say the most is, this bill really doesn't make much sense in terms of how the authority works. One, we don't do this work. We respond to projects brought to us by localities, and many, if not all of you, have proposed projects for widening public trails, going through public parks, whether it's bike or pedestrian. And this bill would simply curtail, if not prevent, the use of the authority 70% funding for those type of projects.
The thing is, I don't know, I don't understand. I understand the words Ms. Maynard just said, but I don't understand what Mr. Delegate Hope is aiming to do. And I don't know who asked him to put the bill forward, because it was not asked to put the bill forward by Arlington. He's an Arlington delegate, correct?
Yes, and Arlington delegate. He doesn't represent, I mean, his district is not the entirety of the county, but yes.
Yeah, but so we are fairly confused as to what this means. And the other part of that is, if this is his goal, he can use the 30% money can always be used by any locality. And so it really limits what MBTA can do. It almost reverses the goal of 2313 as far as congestion relief relative to cost. I mean, if anyone knows any more about this and can help me understand it, I would really appreciate that. I like what the goal is.
Madam Chair.
Oh, Ms. Hines, yes, I'll come back.
Was that Mr. Carantonis who was going to speak? I don't want to interrupt him.
Ms. Hines, go first.
Well, I don't know this for sure. My guess would be that he has been asked by the people who have opposed the Northern Virginia Park trail widening through Arlington. We've heard them at NVTA repeatedly, and that it's just something he's kind of put out there as a sop to them, to say he's listening. So that would be my guess if I had to guess. That trail runs smack dab through his district.
Okay. Mr. Terry, yes.
Yeah, that, yes. I mean, the bill, for clarity, has not the support of the Arlington County Board. The Arlington County Board has not even been asked about that. It was kind of a surprise. And yes, and it is very clear it's designed to hurt the WNOD trail. But at the same time, it literally takes down a lot of the authority's ability to fund these projects in general, and makes it extremely difficult because it adds, federal grade environmental NEPA type of scrutiny on the project. These projects are already do have to pass environment. They have to show that they are compliant with environmental standards, and duplicating and triplicating on that is an incredible burden. They will never be built under these conditions. Plus, this bill introduces in my opinion, problematic approach to that basically attempts to dictate what the NVTA can do and what they can't. So I believe that this crosses definitely a red line here. My county board, we will continue to oppose this bill.
So it won't just be that you won't take no position, you will actively oppose the bill.
I cannot replicate what, we have been a little bit surprised, but we only had informal conversations. I had only conversations with my colleagues. We haven't met on this to that officially, but I cannot imagine a scenario that we won't do that.
Okay.
All right. We will definitely talk to the delegates.
Okay.
Because we haven't done it.
Wonderful. Okay. Yeah. But yes, Mr. Snyder.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I've made two other comments. I think legislation like this that poses new restrictions and new limitations on the authority. Creates a very bad precedent. We deal already with a lot of corruption. And we've done a pretty good job with that. And frankly, I'd be very reluctant to support any further limitation on our ability to do what we were created to do. The second point I would make is that the W&OD trail work within the city of Falls Church has been universally and unanimously supported. And has been a major positive safety element because it's provided a parallel pedestrian way to the bikeway there in the bike path. And that would not have been possible if this legislation were in place. So that's a specific example. But I think the most significant issue for us collectively is to avoid further restrictions on our ability to carry out our mission.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Well, hey, Ms. Bader, when you, and Ms. Senator Boysko, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I have been talking with my colleagues. A number of us are going to be putting in budget amendment or going together on a budget amendment to deal with this year's Metro funding allocation that we need to do. That should be for 2 years. The second thing is that Delegate Joe McNamara and I, who were the ones who carried the menstrual tax relief and the grocery tax relief that left the hole that was not supposed to have happened, and we are both carrying a budget amendment to fill that that deficit, that the allocation of that we lost to the localities. So there will be a number of other bills coming up, but those are two things that I think that would be most important to you all.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Ms. Bader, do you have anything you want to add about Metro, what is or is not happening with Metro funding?
Sure. The governor's introduced budget did not contain any additional funding for the Metro operating gap, but it did provide two things. One is a path forward to be able to get around the 3% cap should funding be available and not violate the cap. So there is a pathway to do that and language in the budget to do that. He's also the budget also contained language that focused on literally outlining again some of the reforms that the administration would like Metro to implement and put those in a corrective plan that would be due by November 30, 2024. These are focused primarily on Metro's operations. They are reduced both total costs and overhead costs related on a per vehicle revenue mile basis for bus and rail, size employee head count relative to ridership and vehicle revenue miles to the median of comparative systems, Boston, Chicago, Philadelphia, etc., and a timeline for automation of the Metro Rail system for achieving grade automation levels of 3 and 4, which would be sort of national standards. That one is somewhat in line with General Manager Clark has mentioned several times their desire to do some signalization modernization that would increase efficiencies and might permit, I think, shorter headways. So that's currently what's in the introduced budget. As Senator Boysko pointed out, we will and expect we'll have budget amendments from members of the General Assembly, which put a number out there for a state's share to jointly address the revenue shortfall at some level with local government and other stakeholders. So the start of the negotiations has begun, and I will say, walking the halls, it's hard. I'm a Northern Virginian. They all know that. I represent NVTA and involved, and I have a number of other lobbyists who ask, what's going on with Metro? How is Metro? So it's very much known that this will be a major discussion point during this General Assembly session.
So when you say negotiations have started, but I'm not trying to be flippant or funny. Are you saying that the governor is starting with at zero?
Well, yeah, I mean, to be frank, I'm not surprised. I think he wanted to see a number from the General Assembly / region first. And so there will be a back and forth negotiation Monday, money, how much, will there be changes in accountability requirements on corrective action? Those are all going to be in the pot to be discussed throughout the General Assembly session.
Is there going to be anything that's going to be focused simply on Potomac Yard report? Because or that's going to be all the same discussion? Or do you know the answer to that?
Yeah, so Madam Chair, we asked a pretty pointed question today when the Secretary came before the Transportation Committee about how he plans to find the money to make the improvements necessary around, to bring this new deal to Potomac Yards area. And he said that there is already money. Let me see, I'm not quoting him, but basically he said there is already money allocated for that area. And he felt confident that they would find the way to make the necessary improvements there specifically. Now, so it was we've got money, we might just shift things around. That was the way I interpreted it. I'd also just like to add that I have been appointed to the Senate Finance Committee and on the Capital Outlay and Transportation Subcommittee, which is the subcommittee that debates all of these issues. So really, it's a very small group of people, and you will have my ear every day if you need to make sure that we are getting this right. I will be advocating for our region.
And I will say that the chairman of that subcommittee is another person from Northern Virginia, Senator Jeremy McPike. I was just looking at those between the meetings, Senator Boyska, and I was like, yes, that both of you are part of, I guess it's like 5 of you maybe on that subcommittee. And really, you're right. You all will be the first from the Senate perspective. You'll be on the front line and what the Senate version of this looks like. I haven't had a chance to look at the House Appropriations Transportation Subcommittee, but I suspect that there will be Northern Virginians on that. Again, they were last year. And so we will have members of our delegation on the 2 key money committee subs that are going to be on the front line of this discussion.
Okay. Any questions? Well, Ms. Baylor, thank you. And just, keep us informed. I know you keep Ms. Backman informed. We'll probably be talking.
Yes, there's a lot more coming in. We didn't even talk about, there are going to be a variety of safety bills. So I'm going to put those all in a package and send them to you. Okay. So you'll be getting a lot of emails from Ms. Bachman and I throughout the next. What
is the last day to file bills? The 19th? The last day to file.
I'm sorry, what was that?
The last day to file bills.
Oh, the last day to file bills, the 19th?
Okay.
Senator Boysko, sometime Thursday or Wednesday of next week.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Just to be sure, though, Chairman, is that the majority of the senators are full. We have the full capacity. So you will have seen a large portion already filed. So I don't expect a whole lot more surprises.
Yeah, okay. It seems the House didn't really do a cap this year. Some members have very large number of bills in already. So yeah.
What? Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right. Seeing no other questions, I will go to Ms. Backman for the Chief Executive report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will be brief. A few things that I would like to call out are that the applications for fiscal year 2030 CMAQ and RSTP award or funds are due tomorrow, January the 12th. Additionally, the FY 2024 to 2029 6-year program update has begun. We received 24 eligible applications, 10 applicants totaling $947.2 million. So what I will say, the finance team is working on our revenues to determine how much we think we will have to populate this 6-year program. And remember, this is out year money, so these are estimates. What I can confidently say, we will not have $947 million. So I wanted to put that out there. The other thing, one of our applicants withdrew their project, and it was a good thing. The Passenger Rail Authority withdrew their application for Franconia Springfield bypass because they were awarded federal funds and that project is fully funded. As for a brief update on the preliminary deployment plan for the regional BRT, the perception survey that was done in December, we had more than 600 Northern Virginians respond to the survey. We are anticipating that we will present those results next month at your February meeting. And Madam Chair, I'm here to take any questions about other items that are in the packet.
Do you have any other questions for Ms. Flagman? Wonderful. Okay, seeing none. My only comments are over the next 2 weeks, I will be calling you all individually to talk to you about the appointments to the subcommittees. For each of our subcommittees that we have at least one person who is no longer on the authority. For UPC, we have two, in fact. We have Ms. Wheeler and Ms. Crystal are both gone. And so there are positions to be filled on the GPC committee, the finance committee, and the PPC committee, all of them. And so I will be calling you all. I do have your numbers.
This is last year, you should get to do them all.
I'm gonna give them a lot of stuff. I am. I'm gonna give them a lot of stuff. I'll be calling you all individually. If you see my number pop up and you don't answer your phone, that means you're gonna get appointed to that committee. So I would advise you to have the conversation with me. But I will be calling everyone, and I would like to get this done in 2 weeks, and so by the next meeting, you would have this in the package of who's on each committee. So just expect that from me over the next couple of weeks. And that is all that I have, except to say Happy New Year to everybody. Is there anything else for the good of the body? Seeing none, we are adjourned. Public comment at all.
Great. Glad we did that.
Heck, I'm on around.